I'm Dayna Reggero, and I am on a journey to listen with Blessed Tomorrow and Eco America. We traveled across the United States listening to faith leaders who are creating hope and real solutions with and for their communities.
This is a 7-part video series designed to help connect your faith with climate solutions. You will learn, be inspired, have some good discussions, and then be moved to take action to protect and care for God's sacred earth.
Part of the church's role is to give people a safe place where they can express their emotion, whether it's anger or disappointment or fear or anxiety. People just need to feel like it's okay to say, I feel like the world is out of control, on fire. As an individual, I can't do much to change the whole world affairs. As an individual, I can't do much to change the whole national scene, but I can change what's happening on my block or in my neighborhood or in my city.
When I hear the birds chirp in the air, when I see the sun set in this wonderful position, I have a witness over here. You call to be stewards.
Humanity is here to till and to tend, to work and to protect.
I got things to do out here.
Anytime you're in a canoe, it has a heart to remember to love one another.
We can do things in our own yard. We don't have to wait.
Keep having the instinct that we should put our arms around each other. That's that bad instinct.
No, that's what I'm here for. Come here.
If tomorrow is the end of the world and you have seedling in your hands, you must plant it.
I wanted to share with you some holy water. The word holy that makes whole, that gives life. When we see the stream, when we see the river, when we see the ocean, that too is holy water. That too is sacred. And it's miraculous.
I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. I have two special guests with a wonderful project. We have here Dayna Reggero and Carol Devine, director and producer of a wonderful series that really brings something so interesting to the table of documentaries. So let's just begin, ladies. How did you come across this project, this way of mixing faith and worrying about the environment, the climate changes that we're all enduring? Let's just jump right in. Yes, please.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm so excited. I love the Her Vision Film Festival. And Carol, I'll give it to you.
Oh, well, thank you. I was just going to say either of us could talk about this. We've come to this and together from parallel but different tracks. So I'm an ordained minister, and when I pastored, I was a pastor for 14 years. When I pastored, as a pastor, sometimes your youth minister moves on and you don't have a youth minister, or your adult Sunday school teacher calls in sick and so there are some weeks that as a pastor, you feel like you're doing everything. Youth groups, Sunday school, all the things, plus preaching and all of the things. And I have always, creation, nature, environmental stuff has always been really important to me and my faith. And so I had this vision of, we really as pastors need tools where we could press play, watch a beautiful film, but that's short, and then discuss it, like be inspired and discuss it. So I've actually had this vision for this series, not to the details that we have now, but this vision of it since I was pastoring and needed that kind of resource. And I have known Dayna for many years in climate circles and have worked with her before, and just think the world of her and her incredible work and commitment to climate justice. And so it made sense for us to connect and do this. And when I told her of the vision, she actually cried. She was just so inspired she was like, it has to be me. You have to do this with me. And so that's kind of how we came to do it.
Wow. Wow. Would you like to go from there? Give your side to that team?
Yeah, Carol had such a beautiful vision for this series and for this important work that she does in the world, and the work of Eco America and Blessed Tomorrow. And so this series is a 7-part series that took us to like 13 states and listening with 30 faith leaders. And it just felt like it was in a time when that was really important. And right now there was just nothing that I could think of that I should be doing besides this. And having the opportunity to work with Carol is always such an honor. You know, it's blending that storytelling and the love for the planet, the love for our faiths, the interfaith beauty of the world, and the ways that people share stories and come together and create solutions. And I was just so touched by how, you know, hopeful it all became and how solutions focused. And Carol just does such a good job of creating the vision, but also pairing that with a curriculum, with real, like, these are the ways that people across the country are, you know, taking real action. And this is what you can actually do, whether it's, you know, doing something green at your place of worship, whether it's, you know, policy focused, whether it is just caring more for the planet and taking action in your community, planting a garden, whether, I mean, there's so many, I could go on forever, but it is just really, really hopeful, but also takes it back. I always love when the listening takes it from me listening to the people. You know, Carol and I we're listening. It's this beautiful listening that is healing. And, you know, going to these communities like the Yurok tribe, the native peoples in California that had just been through so much, and being able to go there in this really beautiful, hopeful time, and going to communities like in North Carolina that had just been hit by Hurricane Helene. And you know, there was just a lot of just real people dealing with real climate impacts, real environmental justice issues at the same time. And but getting a chance to then, I love how the way the projects take it from me listening and out there to then the viewer then gets a chance to listen. But then not only that, but I feel like they feel heard themselves, and then they feel more powerful in sharing their own stories. And so I just have been now, as I start to share as we're sharing this out in the community, we got to launch it at LA Climate Week in Los Angeles, and at the National Faith and Climate Forum that is hosted by Eco America and Blessed Tomorrow. And now I'm hearing back, and, you know, people are like, oh my gosh, we're doing this, or we want to do this, or we want to show this, and we want to, and I love it. So
it's amazing. Yeah, it brings this sense of a conversation, right? And just such a great conversation. And I think it's something that's so often overlooked about how our faith can help us. I love the creation care term. Yeah. You know, like I was sharing before with both you ladies before we began, I had a friend who was an atheist, and he didn't know what my beliefs were. And I told him I believe in Jesus, and he immediately retaliated with, oh, those people don't care about the climate. They don't care about the earth. I don't know what feeds that kind of thinking. So I'm just so grateful that you brought this to the fore, that no, we are called to be stewards of the earth.
Yeah.
So I just think it's marvelous. And it all came from your saying a need. You wanted to speak and inspire people. So that's why it's in a series form, not a full length.
That's exactly right. We want people, whether it be in a faith community or a friend community, but we want folks to be able to watch one. And then there is a study and discussion guide that goes along with it that gives scripture from many traditions, as well as prayers, and then discussion questions. So then we hope they then talk. Like, what stands out to them? Have they experienced, the impacts of climate change? And it just really encourages them to dig deep. And then at the end is like, here's some suggestions for ways you might engage if this particular topic is really speaking to your own heart. And so we hope that everybody watches all 7. But also there maybe there right now is Water Month, right? Is in June is the month that we really pay attention to water. So maybe a group wants to watch the water session in this particular time. And so they can be used by themselves as standalone, but they also really flow beautifully together and support each other. And the other one little thing that I would add is this film is all about how we as humans of whatever faith tradition are connected to each other and to this beautiful earth. And so it connects me as a Christian to my Muslim siblings, my Jewish siblings, indigenous, spiritual, Baha'i. We have many faiths represented in this film, and but then it helps us to also see the holy that is the more than human world, the trees, the water, the air, the creatures. And so it's a very, I see myself and hear my own story, as Dayna was saying, in this person's story.
Two really, two people that stood out to me, their comments. One of them was the woman that said, God cares about everybody, not just white Lutherans. And I don't know where she was, in Ohio, I think.
Iowa.
Iowa. Yeah. I thought that was really great. I don't know. What were you thinking when you heard that?
I squealed. I mean, Dayna heard it first. I saw then the recording, but Becky is a retired physician and is really working hard as a Lutheran in Iowa to lead in an interfaith group on climate in that area. But Dayna got to hear that first, so I don't know what you thought, Dayna.
That was maybe our first very big church. And, I mean, we saw everything. We had a chance to go to so many different types of faith. I had never been to a place of Baha'i worship before. It was an amazing journey. And then we end up in Iowa at this huge sort of beautiful church. It was the first one that had like organs, and it was amazing. And the work that she is doing in the community with the refugees that have come to the community was so touching and so special. And the way that they are growing the food in this garden that would be found in their places of home where they had to leave. And I keep crying just thinking about it all of the stories every time. Sorry, but I mean, I had just such a beautiful experience in each place, and Becky was one of the most amazing people who is really caring for her community in an out of the box way. That's why this series, I think, is so important. And having these 7 episodes, one is, biodiversity focused. One is climate adaptation. We have oceans, we have environmental justice. They all have really cool, beautiful names. And, there's an amazing website. The Blessed Tomorrow is hosting, and you can sign up. You can get access to all 7 episodes now. You have an an opportunity to watch the first one, which is called, just Tend and Keep on its own as an individual film to kind of introduce all of these beautiful, some of them and their ideas, and get the chance to see everybody. And it really sets a tone of love. And I think that's what it is just, it isn't just one person, and I feel like we could have even included any type of person of any faith in this. And we were so inclusive already, and getting a chance to go all the way from, Washington State, Iowa, all the way to the East Coast, and everywhere was so unique. And this country is so beautiful. We saw a grizzly bear on the road driving, and just there was a grizzly bear. This place is so beautiful, and we all have a connection to this place that I think we all love in our own ways. We love our communities, and I think that Becky has just found a unique way to understand how we share this earth together and how things are all connected, and we're not alone. And it's better when we're helping and we're caring for each other. And there can be a beautiful spiritual, religious, there can be that element of it. And I think outside of the pew, outside in nature, in not only seeing a sunset, but then planting a tree. And you see that in this film series, the ways that movement is prayer, and praying with your hands is something we heard also in Iowa. And I just love that as well.
Wow. Yeah, no, that is really powerful. Yeah, no. And again, I love that your film really brings out, your series really brings out how, it's not just corporate, right? Like maybe the problem might be corporate, but there is a solution, and it's found through faith. Others might call it spirituality. So it's really nice to see that you're not only like looking at, it's so grim, there's a solution, and that solution, making it faith, really brings a personal feeling to it. It gives, I can pray, I can plant trees, I can get out in the community. It really gives a solution-based view on these problems that we're all.
And that's what we wanted to do, right? We wanted to acknowledge the problem, but we didn't want to stay there. We wanted to then show, and we highlight 30, Dayna went and listened to 30 faith leaders, but we could have had hundreds of faith leaders, right? But we just had to, because of time and budget, we just had to select, a few that we thought represented the various topics we wanted to cover. But people in every community, there are people of faith who are living out their faith in beautiful and amazing ways. And I hope that this film series also will cause people to go, oh yeah, I see, this church or this synagogue, or, I see it happening, in my community too. And how can I then connect with them and start something where I am, in my yard or in my faith community? What can we do? How can we live out our faith?
Yes. The other powerful commentary, the other person's commentary that I wanted to bring up was the gentleman that mentioned the food apartheid. I thought that was super powerful. Yeah. If you'd like to, for people who haven't seen it, speak about that segment some more.
Yeah, sure. Heber Brown, Reverend Heber Brown, is with the Black Food Security Network, and he is He's really amazing. So I probably can't even say enough about him and his work. He's helping white community and helping us to understand insecurity, food insecurity, and the freedom and liberty that comes with food security. So there's this whole issue around food insecurity and food security. And when you're able to, if the grocery bills keep going up, but you're able to either offset that or feed your community out of a garden or many gardens, there is powerful freedom in that. He uses the term food apartheid, which has become the normal language nowadays, but we used to talk about food deserts. And what he helps us understand is that a desert, outside of climate change, a desert is a naturally occurring, beautiful thing, whereas places with no access to food, communities with no access to food, that is not naturally occurring. It actually comes out of redlining, it comes out of segregation historically, and continues that our brown and black siblings and their communities are often much further away from really beautiful, lovely grocery stores, farmers markets, and things like that. So his organization is trying to change that and help particularly Black churches, but any churches, to learn more and to make a difference, either by investing and trying to do a food, a garden, a vegetable garden, a community garden, or by intentionally supporting Black farmers in particular, and really lifting them up and trying to balance the scales and provide freedom for our communities that need it so much.
Wow. Just how about for you ladies, both of you, as you're taking this journey through this series, what really struck you? Was there something you were surprised to learn that you didn't know going in? Anything that stood out to you as
Dayna?
Different?
I'll speak to the filmmakers here since this is a film festival interview. And I think that the thing that was different about this tour than anything that I have done for the last 20 years now is the people are asking questions, new questions about AI. So it was nothing that was surprising on the tour. It was, just an amazing experience. And, but the things that I'm thinking about as we are sharing clips even to social media, and what does that mean? And it's different now than it was even a year ago. And so, I think even with this interview that we're doing right now, we're gonna put this on YouTube, and then it's like, okay, and then what? Now they're adding new things to our agreements. There was one file share program that a lot of filmmakers use that I remember seeing go viral for saying that they owned the footage that they could use for AI, this and that but just by sending a file, we might now lose ownership over our images. And so I'm always having to ask new questions, as a listener, in addition to being a filmmaker, as an activist, in addition to being a filmmaker, I'm always asking the questions of how do I do this ethically? How do I care for these people? I have a lot of other groups that contact me and say, hey, I want to buy your footage. I want to use your footage. I want to, and I'm very careful with making sure that everybody is protected. And I've been very lucky that, that I've had nothing. I did one campaign one time that I remember years ago, went viral on Twitter, and it got taken over by bots and things, the hashtag, and we were all like, oh gosh, and it's like, we've lost our hashtag, it's gone.
Wow. What was it? Can I ask what the hashtag was?
Yeah, it was what's in your paper, and it was an international campaign where I had listened to people in I think 13 countries, interestingly enough, but there was people all around the world, and I even had a partnership with Ian Somerhalder, who was the celebrity, and with the Ian Somerhalder Foundation, and he was in, and so I had a celebrity, and it went viral, and then it was taken over by bots, and so we think about these things of like, oh, we're gonna make a hashtag and have it go viral. When that those things can now be taken over by a bot or changed, or our image can be taken and used for who knows, I don't even know. And so it's like AI is changing the ways that information is shared and is stored and done. I don't even really understand it all, and I'm learning. So I think as filmmakers, if we want to do things ethically, we are always trying to care for the people that we are listening to, and but as we share these things online, how do we protect our people? How do we protect these folks? And I think things are moving super fast, just like they did with like the fossil fuel industry. And it's like, okay, now we have coal and all these things, and like, okay, we have electricity, thanks, but like, did we do it the right way? And so now I think we're asking questions about data centers and what is all of this, and how do we protect ourselves, our families, and our communities? And so, yeah, that's just an interesting sort of thing, I think, as filmmakers, that we need to be looking at now.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Dayna, because Dayna, literally, there's one person who wasn't in the film series that we had planned for her to be, because she was too nervous about her image being out there. And so that was obviously a shame, but, also a surprise to us that I hadn't thought about that at all.
In 20 years.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I can't protect you. Like if I put you on Instagram, if I give you an interview, like, just doing this, Carol, it's like, I don't know, guys, but we can't be silenced either. So there is this very hard line right now of we're putting ourselves out there, we're sharing our stories. It takes courage. And every time we do that, it is important, and we're doing this knowing what we know. And so I'm grateful to both of you for having these conversations, and I think that we are sharing hope, and good things will happen only.
Amen.
That is right.
No, it's really, I haven't thought of it that way. Yeah, like you can just because I've been asking like filmmakers, what they think of AI, and how it'll impact like industry wise. But this is interesting. Nobody's really brought up that side of it yet. That I mean. Yeah,
well,
scary.
Celebrities are dealing with it. We haven't had that conversation, like the Writers Guild, and there was the big strike around like if an actor is on a Netflix show, now Netflix own their image and they can use whatever, they can make sequels, they can do whatever, and it's like, but in documentary world, there's conversations of like deep fakes and things that like, I mean, golly, guys, it's an interesting time. So
yeah. I forget who I heard speak about this on I believe it was on a Christian podcast, and he was describing how like electricity can be used to access other dimensions, and AI is really just like almost like a form of like a demon summoning type thing of I don't know, it was really I mean, so I mean it's really scary.
People
especially
are scared of it, and there's gonna be a lot of different kinds of conversations, I think, as we learn and grow. And so hopefully people are listening to the people that are living near the data centers and the actual impacts that they are experiencing, or we can have real conversations about people who do lose the rights to their face somehow, and really listen to these folks and take care of them, take care of each other.
Right. The data centers, especially in line with your work, of how they'll, noise pollution, water pollution. I mean, it it's overwhelming to think about these things. All we could do is like, I mean, thank God people protest,
Yep. We hosted a call just today on data centers, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you for all that you do.
Yeah.
The work that, Blessed Tomorrow and Eco America does is so hopeful, so solutions focused. They have trainings for people to become climate ambassadors. They have, all these really like good tools, and we've made some really good projects together in the past that one was featuring youth and this transformation of a butterfly, and how we as people go through this transformation as well in that process of going through the cocoon. And it's an animation, but it's just that story to me is so important of that becoming, and becoming somebody who cares for the earth and cares for each other. It can happen at any moment in any day. It could happen right now, and everybody's invited in, and it's beautiful. And so I think this series and the work that they're doing is so hopeful and so important right now, that I'm so grateful. And so you'll get a chance to meet all of these beautiful 30 faith leaders, as well as Carol is in the series, so you'll see her as well and get a chance to really listen and be inspired, I think. So I'm excited for people to watch the series. I'm so grateful to you for always supporting the work. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Yeah.
Thank you both. No, I think it's so beautiful on so many levels. The messaging, the cinematography, the care that's obviously gone into it. And
Zachary Kansler. Shout out to Zachary. He did the beautiful cinematography and editing with me.
Yeah. No, just wonderful job, ladies. I can't thank you enough. And one more time, it's Blessed Tomorrow is the name of the organization.
Yes, blessedtomorrow.org. You can find out more about the film series and access it there, and also reach me if you want.
Sword fight, king of the hill. Fireflies and jars divided, wonder bars and dungaree. Clumsy fingers chase the tadpoles in the muddy pond.